Welcome to another hemp episode of HempAware Radio. This is your hemp-entrepreneurial host, Tyler Hemp, here to empower your hemposphere. And today we have a special guest who is revolutionizing the world of sustainable building with hemp. Joining us is Mikaela Machado from Old Pueblo Hemp, a company dedicated to advancing the use of hemp in construction. And Old Pueblo Hemp is at the forefront of the green building movement, demonstrating the incredible potential of a hempcrete and other hemp-based materials to create eco-friendly, energy-efficient structures. And Mikaela brings a wealth of knowledge. She's working with Sergey, with HempAware, and a part of the Hemp Building Association. And she brings some really cool insights. We're going to dive into what she's doing to educate people about the uses of hemp and what she's doing to innovate the hemp industry. So before we dive in, I just want to remind you that HempAware is the sponsor of today's show. And if you need help with getting traffic to your website or helping convert that traffic into ongoing sales, we'd love to help you with your marketing or brand strategy and really identify your ideal customers so that we can all change the world with hemp together. So visit hempaware.com and see all of our free resources and some of the paid opportunities that we have to help you grow your business. So Mikaela is a proud Arizonian who spent her early childhood in Nogales before moving to Tucson and graduating from Sal Point Catholic High School and the University of Arizona with a degree in sculpture and business management. And after years of working in California with Semrock as an artistic fabricator, Mikaela returned to Arizona to earn her master's degree in landscape architecture, which has led her to her passion and career in sustainable design and green home builds. And Mikaela is the qualifying party of OPH's General Residential Contractors License. She's the current president of the Association of Professional Landscape Designers in the Arizona chapter and a member of the U.S. Hemp Building Association. So I'm super excited to have her on today's show. Thank you so much for joining us, Mikaela.
Thank you. What a kick-ass killer introduction. Thank you. I'm flattered.
Right on. Well, you know, I've had quite a few hemp building experts on this show because it's one of my favorite topics. And the more hemp houses that we have on this planet, I feel like the closer we're going to get to experiencing a paradigm shift in consciousness. People are going to have healthier homes to live in, and more health equals more awareness and better experiences in all areas of our life. So before we kind of get into the benefits of building with hemp, maybe just share a little bit more about your background and what inspired you to want to create Old Pueblo Hemp.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, my background is in landscape architecture. Well, for a sculptor, I'm an artist. I've always been an artist. And so I started sculpting as an artistic fabricator, doing like naturalistic environments for zoos and aquariums. And so I was kind of manipulating the landscape already. So after I graduated with my master's in landscape architecture, I was designing sustainably in the desert, which is really important here in Arizona. So, you know, water is an absolute resource for us. Sunshine is a resource for us. So I got really jazzed about sustainable design. And I've always been a cannabis advocate. I love cannabis. See the power of this plant, and I truly believe in it. So when I found out that you could build with cannabis, build healthy houses with cannabis, I was pretty blown away. And I did as much research as I possibly could. But at this point, I've only seen it on YouTube. I haven't had my hands on it. I've never seen it in real life. So it kind of just was like a fantasy. But I finally got into, because there was this was right at the beginning of COVID. So I finally got to take a workshop through HempAware. I'm sure everybody knows HempAware. If you don't know HempAware, you better know about HempAware because they're amazing. And so I took the hands-on workshop at HempAware, and it truly changed my life. Like as corny as it sounds, when I finally lifted the hemp in my hands, this like beam of sunlight came and illuminated my hands, and it was this whole experience that was truly life-changing. That was the moment that it was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to start building hemp houses. And so Tommy and Maddie of Hempatexture were super cool. They've guided me along the way. They've introduced me to all the right people. They've had me host their symposiums. And so, yeah, I've just been on a fast track ever since and couldn't find anybody to build in hemp in Tucson. Just a lot of liability. Nobody knows the materials. So I couldn't find a contractor to do it. Here in Arizona, you do have to be licensed. You have to be licensed, bonded, and insured to build in Tucson. So it's pretty strict. So I decided I would just go ahead and get my general contractor's license myself and get it going. And that's what we do. Now we focus on blocks, the prefabricated, because as I've learned, time on the job site is really, really expensive. So as much time as we can prepare off-site, I think that's where we can save on the job site.
How interesting and how inspiring. I know that feeling that you just described of having that epiphany moment. And most people, they learn about hemp, they know about cannabis, and maybe have experienced cannabis, and then they hear like one thing about how hemp can be turned into clothing, and then they hear obviously hemp food is a huge thing nowadays. But then like when you get to the fact that you can make a house with this, you're just like that's when your mind is blown.
It really is. Yeah, it's just incredible. I really had no idea. And now I learn new things about hemp all the time. Still, I've been in this game for a minute now, and I'm still constantly being blown away by the power of hemp. Yeah, it's really cool.
Totally. So to get into your business model and kind of how you're bringing hemp construction to the people, and obviously you're getting your contractor license, which is awesome. I know you're teamed up with Sergey in some respects, Kovalenkov with HempAware. He's coming out to do a workshop with you. What are some of the benefits? We can talk about hempcrete as a material, and then we'll get kind of into the blocks more specifically. But what are just some of the main benefits that you've discovered working with this material?
Sure. So hempcrete, and we'll call it, we'll like I said, hempcrete. We'll keep calling it hempcrete, but a bit of a misnomer, right? Because there's actually no concrete in it. So the proper term is hemp lime construction, but hempcrete is a great word because it gets people's mind going. They can kind of understand now that hempcrete is used as a building material. So we love the term hempcrete, but officially, it should be called hemp lime construction. But yeah, so the benefits of hempcrete are that, I know, where do I start, right? It's sustainable. The concept of farm to table really applies to your house now because you can grow your own home, and you can grow your own home quickly as you're regenerating the soil, as you're sequestering carbon, as your farmers are making money. So it's really cool. So like, just to give you an example, you can grow a 500 square foot home in 4 acres in 4 months of growing season. So that's it. So if you wanted to do a 2,000 square foot home, we're only looking at, a few acres. It's really not much. It's something that farmers can do. It's really exciting. People can grow their own homes, and it really be a sustainable material. So it's going to get to a point very, very soon where it won't even make sense to import toxic, cheap materials from elsewhere when we have higher performing domestic ones here. So you can grow your own home. It's very, very sustainable. And then, of course, it's non-toxic. That's huge. Right now, we're sitting in these toxic airtight boxes that are just seeping chemicals. Right now, there's thousands of chemicals seeping through the walls of our homes, and that undoubtedly affects your health. So it doesn't matter how healthy you are, your plant-based diet, how much yoga you do. Every night we're going home and we're sleeping in this airtight toxic box. So really, our homes need to be non-toxic. That's super, super important, not only for our health, but of course, the people who are building our homes, the construction workers, they're, suffering, with health issues down the line. And we need to think about the kids who are building our homes now. Can't think about their health problems in the future. Excuse me. We need to be preventative about it. And then, of course, it's super, super high energy efficient. It simply takes less energy to heat and cool your hemp home. The thermal value is really, really outstanding. So you will actually save a lot of money living in a hemp home.
Amazing. Yeah. So just to kind of reiterate, you started out by saying how the agricultural benefit of this, it's cleaning the soil, it's easy to grow, and you could literally grow your own home if you wanted to. Just a few acres of hemp could build a 2,000 square foot home.
Yeah.
And the challenge, the problem that many people are facing across the world is this toxic building syndrome. We're living in sealed up houses that can't breathe and oftentimes are built with toxic materials, VOCs, lead, formaldehyde, glues, binders, and they're just easily attracting mold. And then we just sit there and breathe all that. So it doesn't matter how healthy your diet is or your lifestyle, if you're exercising, if you're just living in this toxic environment, it could be the weak link in your entire health protocol. And a lot of people are dealing with mold issues and lung issues and asthma and things like that. So there's a major need for this.
There really is a major need. Construction accounts for nearly 40% of the world's carbon emissions. And so to have such a huge impact on the global carbon emissions just by using this plant, I mean, it's really fantastic what we can do. We really have some amazing solutions right at our fingertips that can benefit so many people down the line. So it's something that we have to explore. We absolutely have to spend some more time and some money and put in the infrastructure and see what a global impact it really can have.
Absolutely. And I'm sure more and more research is going to be done on the environmental impact, the economic impact, which we'll be able to utilize that in our educational materials. But just that statistic alone, that 40% of the world's carbon emissions is the building industry, it's like, it's an obvious move forward to switch over to hempcrete as an insulation solution.
It really is. And speaking of insulation, we're just, I go to several hemp symposiums over the year, but we just came back from NOCO this year, which is an amazing hemp symposium. It's in northern Colorado every year. So NOCO Hemp Expo, if anybody's interested in getting in the hemp industry, that really is the place to go to learn a whole lot in just a few days. But just at NOCO, we were talking about the energy savings of living in a hemp home. And the statistic that, we hempers have always been using was 30%. Energy cost saving of 30%, which was pretty big, right? That's pretty impressive, 30% from here on and forever. But they're saying it could be up to 70% now. So, I mean, it's almost going to be a no-brainer when you have this kind of super high energy efficient material at our fingertips. I mean, it just really wouldn't make sense to build with anything else. Mm-hmm. So I really believe that building it's on the forefront. There's a wave coming in this hemp building industry, and it's super exciting. And I just see so many people. I see so many people benefiting from it. Exactly. From the jobs, to the people living in the homes, to we could go on and on about who can benefit from.
So there's the cost savings, the energy efficiency, but then there's the health benefits. If you're not spending a bunch of money on medical bills because of the toxic building syndrome symptoms that people are living with, you end up saving a bunch of money that's almost untrackable. Like it's incredible.
Absolutely. That's one of the huge cost benefits, right? Is the benefits to your health, right? You're not going to be spending ton of money later on down the road because people are like, oh, it's more expensive. And it is. It's about 15 to 20% more expensive to build right now than your standard stick and stucco frame house. But the benefits down the line far, 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 far outweigh any upfront costs.
Just the overall quality of life improvement is totally worth that higher investment.
You and your family, imagine, pregnant women, rehab centers, hospitals, schools. These places that are supposed to be, preparing you for your future are like poisoning you. It's pretty nuts. And so we've really got to move away or go back. I won't even say move away. I'm going to say go back to the ways that we used to build.
Exactly. So to get into kind of the process of making hempcrete and working with the material, can you explain to us what that looks like, the ingredients, the formula, how it gets mixed together, and kind of some of the different applications?
It's pretty simple too. So if you can picture bamboo. So I mean, cannabis looks like bamboo because the way that we're planting for industrial hemp is really, really spaced close together. The way that you're planting for cannabis for flower and for seed, you give them a lot more space because you need them to bud and you need them to flower and grow, and they need the space to do that. Well, we're really only concerned with the stalk. We want the herd that's inside the stalk. So they're planted very, very close together and they shoot straight up in the air. So then they're hacked down and they're basically like a bamboo stalk, right? If you can picture that. And then they're put through a chipper, say sort of a chipper. So they have to break down that herd, break down the stalk and get the herd that's inside and get the bast fibers and separate the herd from the fiber. That's in the processing phase of it. And so what we use as the builders, the fiber is separated and we use the herd. And so it looks a lot like mulch. And so what we do with that mulch is we mix it with our binder. And our binder consists of hydrated lime and a pozzolan. And a pozzolan can be all kinds of different materials. We use one that's a volcanic mineral ash. And that just works really with a binder to bind all these materials together. And so it's really just those three things: the hemp, the binder, and water. And that makes your hemp lime. And you can do it in a variety of ways as well. You can cast and place it, which is where you have two foundations on both sides, two cavities. You create a cavity wall on both sides.
Framework.
Exactly, with a form, a foundation. And you put the material in and you tamp it down, you remove your boards, and you work vertically. You can do that. That's on site. And when you do that, you're working with a wet hempcrete, correct? So it has to cure on site. So you really can't touch it for a little bit. Once you tamp it, you've got to let it cure. You can also do prefabricated things where you can do prefabricated blocks or even entire panel wall systems. That way you can just put them together on site. You can also, which is really cool, is shoot it almost like you would do shotcrete for a pool. You shoot it through a big giant pump with a nozzle, and you can cover a whole lot of square footage very, very quickly. And it's got a very, very high insulation value that way too.
Interesting. So when it comes to, like, I guess the mixture itself, do you know offhand kind of the ratio, how much water to hemp herd to binder?
Yeah, you know, it's really depending on your execution. But because the more binder and pozzolan that you add, the harder your material will be. The harder and denser your material will be is great because you've got a lot of strength, but you're losing a little bit of that thermal value. And that's why shooting with the shotcrete gives you the highest thermal value, because it creates those air pockets. And those air pockets between the hemp herd and the lime, what creates your wall system, that's where the insulation happens. So that's why that's the highest one. So the denser your blocks are, the denser your hemp lime is, you're losing a little bit of thermal value there. But usually it's about 3 parts hemp herd to 1 part binder to 1 part water. But that's again, that's a really loose formula. Yeah. Really, really super loose formula. And it's really fun once you get into it, because for a while I just followed one formula. And now I've been able to mess with the formulas and see how hard I want to make my blocks. And so, yeah, I'm not scared. At first, I was really scared and I felt like I had to follow everything. And then I met Stephen Clark, another really great, really awesome hempster in this world is Stephen Clark of Heaven Grown. He's in Mexico. And he's really opened up my world to just messing with the formula and making it mine.
I love that. Yeah, that's the fun part about this is it is so simple and so easy to work with that you can experiment in your region, maybe the size of the herd that you're getting and the methodology that you're applying the hempcrete can change your ratios, change your formula a little bit. So it's good to kind of dial it in based on the project that you're working on.
Yeah.
And so to go back, I want to kind of reiterate the benefits for the different applications. So you said the spraycrete, otherwise known as like shotcrete, where you spray it into like a chicken wire kind of thing so it sticks all in there. So the benefit of that versus a hemp block versus the cast in place method versus a panelized system. So there's kind of like 4 different systems that you can apply this hempcrete.
Right.
And the main benefit of the spraycrete, well, I think there was two: the speed at which you can apply this method, and then the insulation factor. There's more thermal value because of the bubbles and the gaps in the spraycrete. And then can you remind me kind of like the bricks, that seems to be cool or easy because you can just kind of piece it all, puzzle it together.
The prefabricated, right? We'll kind of put those together in a box, is the prefabricated stuff. So anything that you can do off-site and bring it onto the job site and just put it together. So like, for example, the blocks. And of course, and it is important to note right now too, that this is an insulation material. This is a newly approved in the IRC, in the 2024 IRC. It is listed as an approved building material in the United States of America, which is freaking huge. Mm-hmm. We are very stoked about that, but it's listed as an insulation material. And they worked really, really hard on this code to get it approved as an insulation material for lots of reasons. First of all, they needed to get contractors just used to this idea. Before it was, right now, the load-bearing blocks are being tested right now in the ASTM. The load-bearing blocks are on the way. The load-bearing blocks are already in Europe. They're in other places, but they're not here yet because of all the testing that the USA makes them do. So the load-bearing blocks are coming. But we wanted to get contractors used to the material. That way, when the load-bearing blocks do come, everybody's used to it, and the contractors are going to be really easily can jump on board now. So that was really, really very important. And so it's important to note now that it's still an insulation material, so you still need the framing. Okay, so then along with the framing is the prefabricated panel wall systems. Those are really cool too, because I mean, that's even faster. They're putting whole houses together in half a day. So that is incredible, but that does require a double studded system. So using a little bit more lumber. But the cost savings because of the time is really, really incredible. So there's Matt Marino. Labor. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Matt Marino of Homeland Hempcrete, he's really got that perfected. So if prefabricated panel wall systems is something you want to explore, definitely go to Homeland Hempcrete to get more info on that one.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So it really, so there's different.
Oh, sorry. I will say too that, and also with the prefabricated, what's great about that is that they don't have to cure. So one of the drawbacks of because each one has its benefits and drawbacks. So the drawback of the shotcrete one is, once you spray it, it's hands off for a while. And sometimes hands off on the job site costs a lot of money. So what's great about the prefabricated systems is you can go ahead and start your finish work right after you put them up. Because then we're going into cast in place, which is really great too. Super simple system, very labor intensive, but super easy labor. So anybody can do it. I've been on job sites where there's grannies and nanas next to their grandchildren tamping away. And it's really great. It's super community oriented and really lots of fun, but it is a whole lot of work. And then again, when you remove the forms, it's hands off for a few weeks before you can start doing any sort of finish work. Mm-hmm. So again, they all have benefits and drawbacks. And, I think the project is it's very, very specific, and you have to just kind of sometimes even mix a few ways. So you can even, do a prefabricated block on the inside, spray the outside. While the outside is curing, you can do the finish work on the inside. Once you're done with the finish work on the inside, the outside has been cured, and then you can do that. So
interesting. Cool. So you can do a combination.
Yeah.
Nice. So in terms of your business model, and being that you're an entrepreneur, you've had amazing studies and experience in educating yourself on interior design, architectural design, landscape design. What do you feel like is kind of a unique angle that you're bringing to the construction industry or the hemp construction industry with Pueblo Hemp?
Yeah, I really do hope it's going to start with the design and, working with these architects that really understand passive design and working with the elements here that are natural resources that we need to harvest. So if you don't have a passive home, it really is it's not going to matter. So we really, these airtight homes, we've got to move away from that. We really need our walls to breathe. When they say that, it sounds so phony, but it really is true. Their moisture is going to pass through our walls no matter what. It's when it gets trapped in there that becomes dangerous. That's when the mold happens. And so they do need to have be vapor permeable. And that's what's so great about hempcrete and hemp lime and the way that we finish them. Usually it's lime plaster on the outside. It has to be lime plaster. Well, it doesn't have to be, but best practice would be lime plaster on the outside. And I like to do clay plaster on the inside. But both natural materials, vapor permeable. And then, of course, the house has to be designed correctly for passive design and solar harvesting and water harvesting. And so I really hope that Old Pueblo Hemp Co. And I'm a designer. I'm a designer. I love fashion. I can't help it. I'm an artist. I'm a sculptor. I hope that we bring that design edge that's functional, that has to be functional, that absolutely has to be functional. But I hope that we do it with a super cool style and edge.
Nice. So what does passive mean when you say passive design, or what was the term you used? Passive.
Yeah. Passive home design. And there's that's a whole thing in itself. I think there's a whole degree you can get in passive home design.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's really cool, but it's really about designing your home and have it be in tune with nature. So understanding the solar design of your home has to, make sense to the environment. So we're harvesting the sunshine in the winter and shading it in the summer. So we're doing that with trees. We're doing it with the landscape. We're doing it with the angles of the house. We're doing it with the eaves. We're doing it with roof angles. We're doing it with all these different design techniques, again, to work in balance with nature, not fighting it, working with it.
So do you also incorporate feng shui and energy flow, or like airflow and things like that?
Airflow, absolutely. Like, for example, if you are living in a valley and the wind currents in that valley, it would make sense for you to design, a bathroom that had a great ventilation system so that you don't ever get mold or steam or excess humidity in that area. So things like that you would want your architect to think about and to really understand your landscape and your environment before they just plopped any sort of design on a piece of land.
Mm-hmm. So studying the environment, the surrounding area, where the direction of the sun is, the airflow, if it's a valley versus if it's in the middle of a desert versus if it's in a mountain area, just kind of really...
And respecting as much, the nature as possible. If there's a valley, or if there's a wash running through the property, if we can, avoid building through that wash or grading anywhere near that wash, that would be fantastic. So yeah, we really try to be super respectful of the environment that we're building in. Mm-hmm. We want to be like a part of that environment.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So when it comes to someone, say they're a builder or they're an architect or even an individual that wants to build their own hemp home, and they're interested in learning about this or even just getting their hands wet and dirty in the hempcrete itself, what would you recommend? What's some advice that you would provide to get them started? Like maybe a 1, 2, 3 step plan?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The first thing is you have to get your hands on it, really. Or I'm sorry. I'll start with number one, being like, there's a lot of really good online resources. Like Build Outside the Box is a really great natural building online resource, and you can, buy into the membership, and then you just get loads and loads of presentations from loads and loads of natural builders, and the builders come on with Q&As every now and then. So it's really super interactive. The United States Hemp Building Association also has, or sponsors, or promotes, I would say, it's called the Hemp Build Mastermind program. Again, so a lot of really, really experienced hempsters that we have in the U.S. that put together informational, educational videos, and again, are interactive, where they do Q&As and stuff like that too. So if you get into those videos and you think that's something that you want to do, then the next step absolutely is you have to join a workshop somewhere. And there are workshops going on all over the place, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. And so you really you have to get your hands on it, because there's nothing like it, because you really do have to smell it. You have to touch it. And being inside a hemp home, it really does natural homes, totally in general, they have a vibe. Adobe homes have a vibe. Straw bale homes have a vibe.
It's so true.
They really do, and hempcrete really does too. And it's this cool, sweet, earthy vibe and
ambient.
Really,
yeah, there's. I've been in a couple of hemp homes myself, and I totally agree. Like when you're in there, you can literally sense that the house is breathing, which it is.
It really is. Yeah, it feels cool. It feels fresh. It's really good stuff. And yeah, the clay plaster is great. The lime plaster is great. Like just it's really exciting.
So step one, go online, get those resources. Build outside the box is a good platform for education, videos. U.S. Hemp Building Association, which I think is ushba.org, and find a local workshop. There's HempAware. Sergey's doing workshops all the time.
Yeah, we have a really cool one coming up at the end of September. And
can people register on your website?
Yeah, hopefully. We're just trying to work out the details now, the exact dates. But it's a really cool project where it's up in the Navajo Nation. And the tribe is raising funds to do a hemp house for their tribal leader. And really, it's going to be like a call to action. And we're going to ask all of our hempsters to come. It's a pay it forward kind of project. And we're asking all of our hempsters to make their way and put their hands in and get this house built.
Nice. Well, where can people find you on the socials and your website?
Yes, definitely oldpueblohemp.com. And at Instagram, we're Old Pueblo Hemp Co. So you can definitely find us easy. And yeah, as soon as we have more details, we'll post about that. But yeah, that's going to be a really cool example of what we can do when we join together and make something happen quickly with amazing materials.
For sure.
Yeah, I hope that we make that happen and really blow everyone away with the awesome work that hemp building is. Yeah, it's cool.
I love it. Well, I appreciate what you're doing. And as a parting question, I like to get a little philosophical here and put you on the spot, if I will. If you had the chance to speak in front of the entire world audience, and you could have 30 seconds to share a message with every human being on the planet, you could kind of whisper into their ear and say, this is what I want you to know about hemp. What would you share with every human?
I would share that hemp is really, truly the answer. What is your question? I don't know, but hemp is the answer for sure. But it is the only plant that can house, clothe, and feed you. It's the answer to so many things. Anything that is made of plastic can be made of hemp. That right there is really, really mind blowing. The fact that we can make biofuel and, make our own gasoline and feed people, probably end world hunger if we wanted, because hemp grows so well in so many different places of the earth. And the seed is a superfood. It's just packed with nutrients and minerals and vitamins. And it could be a real answer, like a true answer to solving, at least a step into solving world hunger. I mean, that's how big the impact of hemp can be. And like when I said construction accounts for that much, and we can, have an effect on the carbon emissions, global carbon emissions, by growing one simple plant. It's really, it doesn't even seem real. It really doesn't. It's pretty special. And I hope that people, there's still that stigma too against hemp and cannabis that people the first question I get is, can you smoke your house? If my house starts on fire, should I invite the neighbors over to enjoy it? And it's like, well, no, dude, actually hemp is 99.9% fire resistant. Like, is your home fire resistant? Like, I don't think so, dude, but they love to make these jokes, but it's great because it's a segue to be able to educate them about it. But yeah, I guess I really do believe hemp is the answer. Hemp is the answer to so many problems that we have. And, you start by smoking it. That's good stuff too.
I think it was Jack Herer that said, hemp may not be able to save the world, but it's the only thing that can.
It really is the only thing that can. And there's a reason that this plant was given to us, was placed on this earth, this sweet earth for us. And so, yeah, dude, it's so special. It's hard to even put words to it.
I agree. Well, it's been super fun. I appreciate the insights and what you're doing at Pueblo Hemp Company. And if our visitors want to check out your event, they can go to your website, pueblohemp.com. And
definitely, yeah. Instagram is best for sure. I definitely update on Instagram the most.
Okay.
But I'll do my best for the website. But yeah, we've got some cool workshops coming up. We're making waves. We've got some projects coming up, and joining forces with other people is really great too.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to another hemp episode of HempAware Radio. This is your hemptrepreneurial host, Tyler Hemp, here to empower your hemposphere. Send us an email if you want us to share a particular topic. We're all about helping you grow your hemp business and hemp-educating your mind and leading the way with the hemp movement. So we appreciate you being here. Thanks for tuning into another show.
Oh yeah, thank you. It's been so fun. Thank you very much.